All right, guys, let's play around with this Oris Aquis in-house movement 400. This is such a power move from the brand Oris, for sure, coming out with their own movement. And they sent out a bunch of these PR campaign type packages. They sent me over the watch, the movement encased in this resin so you can see it both sides and play with it and just get close-ups of it. So we'll do some of that in a moment too. They also sent over this very cool VR headset thing. Wow, they put a lot of time into that thing. That was my first experience using a VR headset, and it was a little weird at first, but very cool presentation. And I wish there was some way I could share it with you. Maybe there is, but I don't know how. So let's just talk about the watch. So first off, I'm going to do it like I do all the watches, right? Let's do the measurements and we'll get into some of the pros and cons. So case size on this, I measure 43.12. The case on it is kind of like a bell almost, you know, it kind of flares out towards the bottom, and then the bezel is actually a little bit wider than the case. Makes it really easy to grip and turn the bezel. They write it down as a 43.5 millimeter case. It doesn't wear like a 43.5, guys. My wrist size, I would have to go with this size watch. I feel like there's other sizes for the Aquis lineup, and I think I'd have to go with this larger one for me. You know, if your wrist is smaller or you prefer smaller watches, then look at the other sizes. They have them all the way down, I think, to 39. The lug to lug on this one is 50 millimeter. Again, with this unique case shape, it just does not wear like a big watch. So hopefully you'll be able to pick that up on this video. Thickness 13.4, but that's including the double dome sapphire crystal, which is treated with AR coating for sure. And lug width, you know, it's proprietary integrated lug here. So, but if you measure about right here, it's like 23.8 millimeter, and then the bracelet tapers down wonderfully to 18 millimeter. You have an all milled out clasp, simple operation, double pushers, very tight to the bracelet, 3 micro adjust, and a diver extension. Also, these pushers, you can see they're kind of sloped, so a glancing blow on it is probably just going to be deflected and not grab on it, so it's going to be smooth there, but super easy and comfortable to use. The dive extension, if you need it, is super easy to deploy, and there you go. And then 3 micro adjust. It would have been nice if they could have added a 4th, or better yet, some sort of on-the-fly, no tool required micro adjust system. That seems to be the way of a lot of brands, and I would definitely be willing to give up the dive extension. And then maybe if you're going to take this watch diving, they should include a diver strap maybe instead of the bracelet, because this has a really cool quick, see if I can do this and share with you guys. So you flop this guy over here. See that? Well, see there's like a little notch there for your fingernail. You just kind of pop that hatch open, and then the bracelet can be removed, as you guys watch me struggle with this. Actually, really easy. And then it just slides right out. So that spring bar is captured in there. If it is even a spring bar, I guess that's just what we call it. But, and then to put it back on is actually even easier than taking it off, maybe on camera, and then it just snaps back on. So it's super secure, super tight. There's like very little wiggle to it, and you're going to have the option of, you know, changing out to a strap on the, like, super easy. No tools required, right, for that. But yeah, you need a tool for your micro adjust. Kind of doesn't make sense to me. I would like to give up the dive extension, go with a toolless micro adjust, and then keep this bracelet mechanism and maybe include a strap for diving. For the people that need to go diving with it. I don't dive, so it's not a big deal to me. 300 meter water resist screw down crown. You can see it has a screw down display case back as well. Large display on that too, so you can see clearly the big draw to this particular model is that in-house movement, which is just crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm not qualified to even get into the details of the movement, honestly, other than it is a 5-day power reserve, 120 hours, and it's like crazy anti-magnetic. All the materials they used in it are going to, you know, keep that magnetism thing at bay. So Let's see, weight on this. Oh, crown size. I forgot to mention. That's actually really important on this because it's super easy to operate. It's 7.5mm crown. Really nice oversized signed crown on this. The crown action on it is really nice. It unscrews and it's very stable. It doesn't bang around or anything like that. Now, because there's 2 barrels on this for the power reserve mechanism, it takes quite a bit to get them charged up enough to spin that seconds hand to wake the watch up. I counted maybe up to like 70 turns just going like this, you know, to get that going. And then I think somebody told me it's like 220 turns for a full charge. I could be wrong on that. Now, this isn't technically COSC as far as I know, but they do regulate it and they claim it in their website to a -3 +5 is the regulation on it. I did throw it on my time grapher. Maybe I'll try to get some video of that. And it is running within spec. So excellent accuracy on this. It is a 4 hertz sweep, 28,800 beats, 21 joule movement. The price on this watch is $3,500. Now that's retail. You probably can shop around and be a little savvy, and you might be able to find some discounts, some deals. I think when you're buying brands that offer that type of thing on certain models, then you need to be patient and do that. Don't pay retail if you don't have to. But even if you did pay retail $3,500 for this watch, I think it's priced correctly. Now, I know in the comments, everyone's going to be focused, hyper-focused, might I add, on the minute hand moving when you operate the crown. And we can talk about that. We absolutely should talk about that. And that's going to determine potentially who's going to buy this watch or what that's going to mean. But before we get into that, let's do a little close-up on the watch and take a look at it, because, you know, with the new movement, you have a different layout too. Look where the date is at the 6 o'clock. It's in a little bit different position and a little bit different size than the Aquis that's using the Solita. You can see that beautiful, beautiful blue dial. Absolutely beautiful blue dial. And nice handset. I really like that handset. Hopefully they don't depart from that. And then you have kind of like a ramp style applied indices there with a larger one at the 12 o'clock to help you orientate it. The printed on Oris logo up top, nice and clean, like the font. Down below, also like the font. And for providing enough information, I don't think there's too much there. I think you have the right amount of text down there. It works for me, no problem. The bezel, the cobalt blue bezel, is actually really nice. I'm glad they didn't go with a lighter one. You kind of need that darker one to balance out how the dial gets darker towards the edge a little bit. It is a really nice, and I'm glad it's like not too glossy, not too matte. It's like just the right amount of gloss to it, because this watch does have a lot of polishing, especially on the bracelet. You can see I have it just fingerprinted up pretty heavy. The case is mostly brushed, and then the top is all polished, and that just follows that line all the way down the bracelet. Has the right amount of bling to it, I think. And then you have some exposed hardware, which also adds a little bit of character to the case. Also pointed out the bezel. If you look at the bezel, how it actually is submerged down just below the lug flanks there. Kind of a neat feature that I have never really paid attention to or focused on. But it kind of gives a really nice polished break from the brushed case as you come up to the oversized bezel. Tons of, like I said, tons of traction on that thing too. The bezel feel and sound on this is more thuddy than ticky, if that makes sense. Those aren't even words, but I absolutely love it. Now there is like back play, or a little bit of play in the bezel, but the sound and the feel of it, I don't care about that little bit of play, because everything lines up and the sound of it is just intoxicating. I absolutely love the sound of the bezel. All right, let's do some close-ups of the movement, and then we'll talk about the minute hand. I'm going to make you wait all the way to the end before we talk about the minute hand thing. So you can see here, I would say custom this, custom that, but like the whole movement's custom, guys. This is, just a phenomenal undertaking, and the financial and time invested into this movement is ridiculous, I'm sure. They actually even offer a 10-year warranty on it. One of the things that I haven't heard talked about too much, if I need a pointer or something, is the way they capture the rotor on there. Instead of using a single screw or like 3 screws, depending on what kind of movements are out there, you've noticed different ways of attaching. They have like this little clip system, and you can see the rotor. You'd have to have a rotor to like service it or take it off. You have to position it like right there, and then you can, or no, I guess it would be right here. And then you would slide this clip down, and then you could take it off the post, and then you could start to disassemble it. So I don't know, I just thought that was really interesting, and I really like seeing that versus the screws. It just intrigues me a little bit. And then if you can do some macro and you can get up inside this feature down in here, and you can see all of the components here, and even the way you do your adjusting of the time, it doesn't look like you have to like loosen something. Like it's just, I would love to be involved in a development of something like this. I'm sure the tech and the talk and the the decisions are probably way above my skill level, but it's definitely fun to see how it all works. They even put some arrows and squigglies and everything like that. So like if you try to wind it, you can see what's happening there. And then there's like a clutch system. So like, see this guy here, as I backspin the crown, it automatically pivots. You can see it's on a pivot, and it basically engages like a clutch, so I can backspin and then I can wind. So there's all kinds of little cool things like that, which again also kind of leads me to think that they could have or should maybe figure out a way to solve the minute hand jumping. Let's talk about the minute hand jumping. It's the elephant in the room, right? And I know people are going to ask me, would I buy this watch? The simple answer is yes, I would buy this watch. Am I going to buy this watch? No, I want the titanium one. If they were going to put this movement in the titanium case, then I would look at that one pretty hard. But I don't know how quickly they're going to progress in the lineup with this movement. So the minute hand jumping, we have a pretty good wind on this, right? And I already set the time and everything. Let's go ahead and pop it out. First position is going to be there you go. I couldn't even pop it out to do the date. I just overdid it like with my clumsiness, right? But you saw right there, I didn't do anything wrong. I operated it just like you do any other automatic watch. And now granted, guys, I just have to keep it real with you. Oris sent me this stuff. This was a whole PR campaign. This was a big deal to them. This was a massive undertaking. So hopefully they continue to work with me, but if they don't, I mean, I have to show this. Everyone else is showing this too, right? So now I want to reset the time. I want to set the time, and let's just do it close. Like I think it's like right around here, right? So now I'm not going to do their little trick. I'm just going to push it in. I reset the time, and now I want to push it in. I've hacked the movement, and I want to, how frustrating is that going to be? Because most people are going to buy these watches either online, and they're already going to be aware of this, and they're going to do the fix, or when things settle in, people are going to buy these watches at an Oris authorized dealer, right? Well, is the salesperson going to explain to the potential customer that maybe isn't educated in what this movement does and how it functions? Are they going to show them that? Or are these people going to get this watch, go home, and then they wear their other watches, and then they go to wear it again, they set the time, and the minute hand's jumping around? They're going to think something's wrong. They're going to call in, they're going to be like, no, here's the trick. I don't know. I think I'm kind of in the camp where, see, I popped it out there and it didn't really move. I'm kind of in the camp where I feel like we shouldn't have to have a trick to do this. The trick is you have to wiggle the crown a little bit like this, right? Not too much though, because then you move the minute hand. So it's a real finesse thing. You have to get super intimate with this watch, right? Meanwhile, time's ticking away and you're trying to hack your movement to set it to your phone. And we're going to go ahead and push it in, and it moved a little bit. I still did the trick, and it still moved a little bit. This movement is going to get frustrating, guys. I just popped it out, and it didn't move. So maybe the gears are aligned. Let's go ahead and just push it in. It moved very, very slight. So now you either have to keep fiddling with it, or you have to anticipate how much it's going to move, which I've tried that. That does not work. Okay, I just popped it out, and it didn't move. So let's go ahead and set it here. It moved. So this is repetitive. Will it go away? I don't know. I'm being told that it's because of the movement design with how much power reserve it has and how the gears work. There, it didn't move at all that time. So you can do that. I don't know if you can master it. I don't know if it's something you have to just keep playing with and you'll get it right one time. For a lot of us, is it a deal breaker? No, because once you set it, you have 120-hour power reserve, and my buddy Bruce did time his power reserve on his, and he actually got over 120 hours with it. I didn't do that with this one, but the 120-hour power reserve is legit once you get a full wind on it. If you just strap this watch on your wrist and go around and you think you're super active and you think you're going to get a full wind on it, I don't think so. I think most people are not as active as they think when it comes to winding a 120-hour power reserve watch. You're going to want to actually physically wind this, maybe throw it on a winder or do something with it. I don't know. But I think the properties, the pros, if you did a pro-con list with this watch, guys, I think you're going to find that, say you do a lot of travel, maybe you work in an industry that is subjecting your watch to magnetism, then this one is going to shine as a champ. You know what I mean? It's going to work for you. There it is on my wrist. It feels and looks amazing on wrist. So once you've gotten past the whole little quirk with the movement thing, you can just enjoy the watch. Maybe keep it wound, and maybe you don't ever have to do anything with it. Maybe an adjustment maybe once every few months. So I still think this watch is a killer watch and a killer deal, and I'm excited to see future releases from Oris with this movement. What say you? Let me kill the lights so you can see the loom. There you go. Nice, beautiful blue loom. I'll see you guys in the next vid.